Okay, everybody, the boys are back. We are a mere 15 days away from the 2025 ELF football season. Season 5 of the ELF. Matt, how you doing? How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Like you said, 2 weeks left, just getting into that last, just chewing it up, last little bit of tape watching, see where teams are, maybe another power rankings before the start of the year. But we're going really, 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 really well.
Yeah, the speculation ends and then playing actual football starts. Everybody in the chat, what's going on? We are linked on all of the social media platforms. Mike Mathis, hey, what's up? Just 2 more weeks. Yep, there we go. John B. Jenkins from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. What's up, man? And he says, "Yo, where was Devin Burrell in the top 100?" We'll talk about that type of stuff. Okay, we're going to be talking about that type of stuff. Guys, we got a great show for you today. In a couple of minutes, we are interviewing one of the best defensive players in the entire ELF. One of my good buddies, Mitch Fettig, will be joining the show a couple minutes from now. Stick around for that. And then, of course, we're going to do our As Seen on Social segment that we do every week. Matt, we're going to touch on a little bit of a beef you've got that's continuing to grow with one of the organizations. I think they seem to be beefing with a lot of people, you being one of them. We'll touch on that in the As Seen on Social segment. Then, of course, Signing Center, Matt, where I mispronounce all of the European names and you give us all of your experts. We got a couple more guys in the Signing Center to touch on in these last couple of weeks. And then, of course, we've been talking about it. The top 100 list based on stats. A lot of people, maybe some people liked it. Some people didn't like it. We're going to take a look at the top 10 guys on that list. And Matt, we're going to see how we feel about where these fellas landed. And then continuing on with that, as we did last week, Matt, you were ranking your top 5 safeties in the ELF. Well, we're going to move on to another position. Your top 5 running backs. All of that today on ELF Live. Great stuff coming, but let's start it off, Matt. Let's bring on our boy, Mitch Fettig, joining us live from the prominent city of Stuttgart, Germany. Hey, Mitch, what's up, bro?
What's up, fellas? What's up?
How you doing, man? All right, Mitch, we got to start this off because last week, I don't know if you saw our episode. It was just embroiled in controversy due to Matt's rankings of the top 5 safeties because he sort of categorized you as a corner, and I kind of picture you more as a safety. How do you feel about that? Where do you land? What do you really identify as, a corner or a safety?
I definitely identify as a pure safety that can also play corner, though.
See, that's what I was
saying,
Nick.
What, Matt? What? Because he can play corner? He's disqualified from the list.
No, he is an elite corner. He played at all-star level in corner. He didn't play full-time, of course. Like Raheem, he kind of moved between the two of them, no? So he would kind of be a DB, not a CB or an S.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Sure. I guess that's fair there. Mitch, do you you and Matt can squash the beef here?
No, beef is still strong, but hey.
No, Matt, Mitch, we keep the beef. I like our defensive players to have beef here. Speaking of which, I mean, because you play both, what is the biggest difference for the lay person out there? Biggest difference between playing safety and playing corner, both physically and maybe mentally? Is there also a difference there?
Yeah, so I think the biggest difference would be like my vision and my leadership on the field.
Okay.
Safety, I'm able to kind of involve myself in more plays, which I really enjoy.
Yep.
And then everyone can kind of hear me. I'm like in the back of the defense, so everyone can kind of hear me making the checks, making the communications. When I try to do that at corner, you're kind of on an island. So you can kind of be taken out of the game fully. It's like not really involved in plays when you're trying to make checks based on certain formations and stuff or certain tells. No one's really listening to you out there just because you're just kind of far away. Like sometimes wide split by the receiver. You're like not really involved. So yeah, I would say those are the biggest differences.
Okay.
Leadership, communication.
I like that. So you would say that as a corner, you can be taken out of the game. Matt, do you not remember when I said when you were really excited about the Prague corners? I said, yeah, but you could take corners out of the game. And you said, no, not really. Well, now we got Mitch back here.
2. You think you could take Mitch and Raheem out if they're both playing corner? Is that what you're saying, Nick? I just want to get that on record.
No, I'm not. No, hey, I'm not taking any sides here. I'm just relaying the information and letting you defend yourself.
I mean, we just talked about top 100 though, Mitch. You were not very high in my opinion. You should have been higher. But what's your opinion? Where do you think you would have landed in that top 100 if it was your list?
Was that like AI/metrics that did that mainly?
I think it was Niels's stat-based approach. I'm not
Okay.
sure the exact numbers that went into it. Personally, I mean, you had 5 picks, and I don't know how that doesn't get you in the top for the thing. But personally, I would have had you in the top 10. Where would you have been?
Um, that's a good question, man. I don't like necessarily ranking myself. I think that is for other people to do. If that was like AI sports metrics, I think there is some time before AI and sports metrics takes over the world, I would say. But no, just I'm messing, man. I'm more like those things are all fun and games, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like a consolation prize. We didn't win the championship. You know what I mean? That stuff is all nice when you win the championship because it's like, okay, sweet, I'm top 10 or top 50, top 100, whatever. But when you don't win the championship, it's just kind of like, oh, here's your participation trophy.
Yeah, there you go. I like that.
But I mean, at the end of the day, accolades are great, but winning is greater. So that's kind of what the prize is.
What a wise man. So the accolades are like the cherry on top of the cake, but winning the championship is the cake.
Exactly.
There we go. Yeah, metaphor. All right, let's talk about that a little bit then, because you're going into now year 3 with the Surge. You guys made it to the championship game last year, or in 2023, lost in the semifinals last year, both to the same team, to the Rhine Fire. Last year, probably leaving a little bit of a bad taste in the mouth. What's the vibe like for the Surge preseason? I mean, the Surge have brought back a lot of guys, loaded up. A lot of people are talking about you guys as one of the favorites this year. How's the vibe been in preseason?
Just hungry, definitely motivated. I think it's great. We're building on a lot of the relationships. We get along with all the guys, even like the new pieces that come in kind of just gel and mesh with us right away. I think that's where our staff just does a great job at bringing in characters that just kind of will just come and just mold well with the team. So yeah, we're just hungry. We're motivated. We've been close twice, and close isn't good enough. So we're just eyes on the prize. So
Coach is not good enough. That semifinal game, that was a tough one. But hey,
yeah, that was
your championship in Stuttgart could be a storybook finish, bro.
It could be. It could be. That's the goal, but that's the goal of every team in the league right now. So
That's true.
Matt, one practice at a time.
There you go. Matt, you got a question for Mitch?
I mean, what did Coach Newman say after that game? That's what I'm interested in, because you brought in a lot of like guys that have played for the Surge before. You, of course, Riley as well. I'm not sure if he was going to come back. Then you kind of reloaded. You got Tomiwa and you got Daniel Pedro. You've got these great young talent to add to the already established, probably top 3 or 4 roster in the league. What did Coach tell you to prepare you for this season and to get all of this elite talent back in Stuttgart 2025?
I think it really just came to the fact that we set off on a mission when we started this whole thing, and that mission hasn't been completed. So when you got guys who all have the same goal and the same vision, it's kind of easy to kind of get guys to get back on board, get back on the wagon to kind of complete that goal. Or else it's like holding in a sneeze, you know? You just gotta finish, man. You just gotta finish.
One of the worst feelings in the world, holding in a sneeze.
Yeah,
I can't imagine.
exactly.
I can't imagine the feeling that you're going through of holding in a sneeze for multiple years. We got Alex Malchow in the chat. This says Mitch Fettig, most handsome man in the ELF. Mitch is a model. He does a little bit of modeling as well. Does stuff off the field. It says job's not done. But Mitch, I'm super interested in the I know we touched on a little bit with the position stuff, but the mental aspect of your game. Your wife, obviously, sports psychologist, so you've done a lot of work on the mental aspect of the game of football. Can you talk a little bit about that? How you've developed mentally as an athlete over the years?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's been like the biggest development of my game. Not only obviously with having a wife as a sports psychologist, so she's got me on a pre-performance routine that just kind of like eases my nerves going into the game. I have everything kind of set in stone. So I know exactly what I'm doing on home games, away games, from warm up, from breathing, from exercises, from stretches, from vision work going into games, which has just been a complete relief and kind of gets me locked in and allows me to enter flow state a lot easier once that game starts going, slow things down, even if teams are pushing tempo. But then also just from a football intelligence standpoint, learning from Cody, learning from Coach Johnny, Coach Cody, those guys get me dialed. Like I came from a 4-2-5 in college, so now we're kind of like more of a 3 down front, obviously, as you've seen, and just learning like more nuances, more tendencies, just from those guys. And it's just been awesome to kind of soak it all up from what those guys have been able to teach. So
yeah, and it's also cool with like the continuity with you guys, like with Cody, with Johnny, and some of these main guys on the defense, and just I mean, you guys now have been working together for this will be your 4th year with them,
yeah,
and just being able to be in that system. How you feel in that system? It took me quite a few years to get everything down. How you feel with it?
I mean, it's a complex system, which is awesome. Because practices don't look the same, games don't look the same. There's just so much that we can do. So it's been a huge blessing. I mean, I just feel like in these 4 years with them, I've grown like a decade in football intelligence just from kind of seeing how they game plan, seeing how they call things. So yeah, it takes a while to get used to though. It does take, you got to get your feet wet. You're treading water a little bit and then it clicks. And then once it clicks, you slow it down and it's just a lot of fun.
There you go. You got to get the click. Matt, you got a question?
Yeah, you lost Daryl Stewart during the offseason. You also lost Yannick Meyer as well. So big losses to the receiver core. Now you get into someone like Jeff Cotton. We don't know a ton of him. You know, we've coming from Idaho. We haven't seen a bunch of him as of lately. What's he looking like so far in camp? And then also Daniel Pedro, and I'm a big fan of him. But again, not a player we've seen a ton of experience. Only had 1 year in Europe, comes from the UK. And then a couple of other German receivers that we're familiar with, but haven't had a ton of play time because of how stats you were last season. So just tell us how on the offseason so far, just the receiver core is looking so far.
Yeah, I mean, that just more testament to Jordan too, Coach Jordan, the way that they can recruit. Obviously, DJ, phenomenal player. Yannick, phenomenal player and athlete. Just losing those guys they're not easy to replace, right? They're just very good players. But then you bring in a guy like Jeff, he looks great. He's quick, he's big, he's strong. So I'm really excited for his season. I'm excited for Pedro, obviously a young guy coming off a very high statistical season in Potsdam. Just like raw athleticism. Just like you can just tell by the way he runs. He's just a really good athlete. So it's going to be awesome to spend time with him. Obviously, we still got our guy, Lewis Geyer, back, who just improves every year. You're just like, okay, that's a ceiling. And then you come back after an offseason, you're like, oh, whoa, you got bigger, better, faster, stronger. Like, how's that possible? So he's just a hard worker too. He's just fun to watch. You got guys like Dr. Flo, obviously our guy in the slot, Mr. Reliable, I call him. He's pretty young in football. He hasn't played football many years. And then he comes and he scores a touchdown in the semifinal on the biggest stage against the Rhine Fire. And it's just like, okay. Like, so it's just awesome to see some of these guys develop through the years and just become kind of like consistent and reliable. So yeah, I'm very excited about our offense and very excited about the group we have and how hard everyone works.
A lot of ballers on that offense. Mitch, who are you most looking forward to playing against? Which game do you got circled?
Week one, man. Week
there we
one.
go.
Yeah, it's just it's always fun after an off season, after a preseason and camp to test where you're at. You never fully know until the lights come on and you get hit in the mouth and you hit someone in the mouth. You never know how teams are going to react, how our team's going to react to adversity and to success. So yeah, I'm very, very excited for week one. And it's gonna be fun.
There we go. Yeah, coming off the offseason, especially as a defensive player, I always thought, like, am I going to remember how to tackle people live, full speed in a game when a game comes around? You always remember. It is like riding a bike, but that first it always hits a little different. Matt, I got one final question that has nothing to do with football. So Matt, if you have another football question, go ahead.
Yeah, so you got the Galaxy week one. How's tape study going for that? Who are you looking at in that matchup?
Obviously, their offense is very potent, high-powered offense. They kind of have weapons all over. So yeah, it's going to be fun. They can kind of hit you from all directions. Obviously, they have strong running back core, strong receiving core. Their quarterback is solid and he can move around. He can make tough throws. So I want to say there's anyone in particular, especially because we don't fully know. New head coach coming in. I don't really know where people are going to be lined up. But I know that they have offensive firepower, obviously from a defensive standpoint. So just kind of excited for that competition and to kind of show what we can do.
There we go. Alex Malchow in the chat says, nameless, faceless opponents for Mitch. Doesn't matter who, just whoever, line anyone up against me. All right, the most important question of this interview, it's a tradition, a long-standing tradition that we started last week with Reed Sinnett. Asking guys, what are their top 5 favorite movies? It's a very difficult question, and for a lot of people, it shifts around all the time, but it gives us a little bit of a glimpse into who you are. Mitch, what are 5 movies that you like?
I'm going to start off with a football movie I used to watch before every youth football game, Friday Night Lights, with Billy Bob Thornton.
Hell yeah.
The Permian Panthers. So that would probably be, I mean, no, these are no order, but like that was just a pump up video game. I'd always watch the game against Dallas Carter. Just to pump me up going out there as a 5th grader, you know, lacing red.
I remember those
touchdowns. And then I would go Arrival with Amy Adams and Jeremy Renner. I think that's a great movie.
You were just playing that Arrival theme in the car last week.
That's kind of my pump up, man. I listened to just
that instrumental. Like that. Beautiful. All right, great.
Pulp Fiction. Tarantino, got to throw a Tarantino film in there.
There we go. Good.
Yeah. Midnight in Paris.
Oh, yes, Mitch.
Which, Nick, you put me on Midnight in Paris. I had no clue. And then we went to Paris in the rain. You got to watch Midnight in Paris. So we watched that. And movie. Love that movie. And then last one, kind of like a guilty pleasure, but Avengers Infinity War. And that's mainly for like the theatrical experience of it. Everyone was just pumped up and clapping and excited. So
that's a very good list, Mitch. I'm proud of you. You covered a lot of corners there. Alex Malchow in the chat says Mitch is a Shrek 3 guy. I can see that. Everyone, I mean, you know, I'm obviously a Shrek guy. I'm a Shrek 1 guy, but Shrek 3 is on there as well. That's a good list there. Matt, you got any comments on Mitch's list?
You know, it's crazy. I've never seen Friday Night Lights in my life.
You haven't?
I've never seen it in my life, which I feel like a lot of people are going to judge me for. But
hey, that's your homework, man.
You know? Coming from the UK, that we don't really get those films. You know, that's just not. It's just not available here that often.
Matt,
that's homework for sure.
Not only is that important for football, but just this American culture right there. You got to watch that about 5 times before our next show. Okay.
All right, I'll watch it after this. I'll put it on, and then I'll see the vision. Yeah.
All right, thumbs up, man. Yeah, you're gonna be jacked up. You might. There's some tears at the end, possibly though. All right, there we have it. Mitch Fettig, the man, pure safety, who can also play corner for the Stuttgart Surge. My good buddy, former teammate. Mitch, thanks for coming on the show, bro. And
I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys having me.
Awesome, bro. All right, see you next week then. Mitch Fettig, my man. There you go, Matt. What do you have to say as Mitch identifies himself as a safety?
I mean, he can be on the list. I'd said that, you know, he's a DB, so you can play everywhere. Surely that speaks to his versatility, Nick. Surely.
There we go. Malchow does say football blasphemy, Matt, about your lack of not seeing Friday Night Lights. I mean, I got to be honest, man. You're going to have a slight PR crisis from this about admitting that on the show, but it's nothing you can't get through. You prove in the next show that you've seen Friday Night Lights. You're going to be okay.
I feel like this is going to be made into a short, and then people are going to maybe think different of my work now that I haven't seen Friday Night Lights. Is that the one with Denzel Washington?
No, you stop, Matt, stop. That's Remember the Titans. Oh, you're hurting yourself. You know what?
I made a fool of myself.
Marcus said, Matt, Marcus says, bruv just gained more beef from Friday Night Lights.
That's not good. I've got the wrong actor in it as well.
Matt, we're gonna be all right, bro. We're gonna get out of this crisis. Let's move on to our next segment, as seen on social. There we go. There's our beautiful graphic right here. And let's start off with the big news from the NFL draft. Leander Vegan signing undrafted free agent to the New York Jets. Matt, you got the privilege of seeing him at the FIBO. Thoughts on this? This is pretty big news for the league.
Yeah, congratulations to him as well. Friend of mine, massive bloke. I tried to talk to him a little bit, but you know, he's a busy guy these days, being in the NFL. So he had a lot of obligations at FIBO, benching as well, but that bench really does speak to his strength in his hands. He's just such a good athlete. You can move people. He's still young. He has experience in the collegiate level, but in Europe, he's really established himself. And I think that year with Rhine makes him champion, comes into Munich and has a year with Joe Thomas. I think really elevated him as a prospect. Super, super proud of him. And I'm really, really happy he gets this opportunity with the New York Jets.
Hell yeah, man. That's so awesome. I'd love to see that. All right. And then, well, we know the Rhine Fire have this special partnership with the Seattle Seahawks, and they got to announce one of the Seahawks draft picks. You see Omari and Chad announcing it here. And which one was it? It was like pick 140 or so in the later rounds, but it was it a D lineman from Notre Dame, I think, was it, Matt?
That's correct. 142,
There you
and
go.
you'll see it pop up in a second with his name. There we go. Riley Mills, defensive end from Notre Dame.
There we go, from Notre Dame. So that's pretty awesome. It's cool to see that there's this connection here with an ELF team and then an NFL team. We got to get more of those. And now, Matt, let's move on. We're going to move on to a sensitive subject here. The team that is beefing with not only you but also beefing with some other people, I guess, as well. They did put out a nice little video here, a good practice video. The orange does look nice. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, it looked great, but like they're beefing with everyone. It's not just me. We saw the Ryan Fire, they put about Haaland and how good Haaland is, and you got Chan. And by the way, Chan, I don't want to beef. I know you're an elite corner, elite player. Please don't start hating on me as well. But I can't help but feel, Nick, they're kind of misplacing this beef. No, like they don't play each other in the regular season. So what's the point of wasting energy on that? Go and beef with someone you're going to play would be my advice. But they do look clean. Admittedly so, I don't want to say that, but they do look really clean. And I think that, I mean, they got such a hard division, man. It's going to be tough for them to get out of there. But they clearly have their eyes on the playoffs if they're trying to eye up Ryan Fire.
Hey, that's true. I mean, they're beefing, setting themselves up for some playoff tension right there. But they do look good in the orange, huh? And then on to the Hamburg Sea Devils. This, I think, was one of my favorite social posts in a while. This just nice, really calm, slow down style of video put out by the team with the dictionary definition of improvement right there. It's kind of taken from the style I think that the University of Illinois used it this season. And it just kind of cuts through everything because so much of the football content that we see is all very similar. It's high pace, it's action, it's tough guy stuff. Hey, slow it down a little bit. And I like what the Hamburg Sea Devils did right here on social media. Not sure how much I'm going to like what they're doing on the actual football field, but I like what they're doing in this video right here. What do you think, Matt?
Kyle Kitchen's going to hate you for that one. Yeah, I love it. Use of the blue as well. The sky is a beautiful summer's day in Germany. And it just kind of doesn't get you like really ready for the year, just seeing the beautiful weather and football coming in.
Yeah. Well, this also hits like a different emotional beat that football touches for people. It's not all just action packed, tough guy shit. There's also this vibe, and I appreciate the Hamburg Sea Devils doing that. Good work to their social team. So that's what we have for the As Seen on Social segment. As always, if you guys see anything you want us to talk about on the show, well, comment underneath it on social media, #ELF Live. And Matt and I will perhaps chit chat about it. All right, moving on to our signing center. As we're getting close here with just 2 weeks left, we don't have so many, but let's start off with the Paris Musketeers bringing back Remy Berthelin. How was my pronunciation right there, Matt? My high school French has not served me very well. What are your thoughts on this signing?
Remy Berthelin, I believe.
Berthelin.
He can tell me if I'm wrong, but my friend, I didn't learn French in school. I learned Spanish, but I can't speak that either. But but he is a phenomenal receiver. He's a one-time All-Star, former Barcelona Dragon, came into Paris as one of the most balanced and well-rounded receivers they have. He can play in the slot. He can play out wide. He can be a jet guy. He can be a motion guy. He can take the ball technically as a running back if he needs to behind the line of scrimmage. He has such a developed tree. He's such a well-rounded receiver in general, and he can catch fire so quickly. He has 2 games over 200 yards, including a 271-yard performance. And in this year, he had 200-yard plus. I believe it was against Cologne. He is a phenomenal receiver. I really can't preface how much he's important to this team because you've got other French receivers like Florian LaRose and Anthony Mahonwu, who are these big physical outside guys. You got Tekadam, who's this elite speedster, but then you have Remy, who can just kind of be wherever you need him to be. And I'm a big fan, and I like his game a lot.
It kind of sometimes gives me a little bit of Philip Hahn vibes of the Raiders. Like he can fill that role. I mean, I broadcast a few of their games, and I was always impressed with him. So good on the Musketeers. Now sticking with the Musketeers on the defensive side of the ball, they bring back Waji Saeed, 29 years old, played for the squad last year. Matt, thoughts on this
Again, big fan of the signing. I'm close with Mark Mattioli. He recommended I look at this tape during the start of the offseason. I did, found out how much of a fan I have of his game. I think that he is a truly one of the best nickels that we have in the league. He can play outside, he definitely can. But high level nickel with that twitchiness, that burst, that explosiveness, that kind of like anger that a lot of nickels have, which I really, really like. Great movement, solid tackler. I think that he's not an elite high pointer, but because of his like smaller size on the outside, that's why I think that he's going to be used a lot of corner. If they get Beard back and have an American corner, they're quite quiet with their signings at the moment, but I think he's going to be a big part of this passing defense and as well as the running defense from the nickel.
Hey, and there we go. And we've got Alex Malchow in the chat. It says, can't wait to call the Paris versus Ryan Fire game week 1. Malchow on the call for that big game. That'll be an interesting one. Two NFL head coaches, former NFL head coaches, clashing against each other. All right. And now moving on down to beautiful Bavaria. The Munich Ravens re-sign Etoile Louis, some might call him a defensive tackle. I like to think of him as a running back because he participated in some short yardage situations where he brought in a couple of touchdowns. But no, he is a defensive tackle. The Kiwi from New Zealand. Big man, Matt, thoughts on this one?
I mean, he's massive, right? 335 is a huge for an interior defensive lineman. Massive strength that really translates. Surprisingly, he is very quick off the line as well. Run crusher. Like, he's dominant in the run game. He's an IPP level athlete. Like you say, short yardage running back. Could play him at fullback. He had a couple carries throughout the year that went viral, which we love to see. Rugby player, so it makes sense he's good with the ball in his hands. Here's a big thing, though. He has struggled with injuries. 14 games played in 2 years is not great. I believe it's 7 in both of them. If he can just overcome these injuries, he would be one of the best D tackles in the league. I feel very, very solid saying that.
Yep.
It's just a big if, right? Can you overcome injuries? Some players are just more displaced to injuries. But then he's also playing in a position where he's going to get a lot of contact, and he's such a big guy that requires a double team quite often. So he does cause a lot of problems, and I really, really, really want him to stay healthy because I love watching Louis play.
They say the best ability is availability. Got to stay healthy. But if he's able to do so, yeah, he'll be one of the top defensive linemen in the league. So there we have it. Oh, Marcus, I see what you said right there. I'm not gonna say it out loud. I don't want to shine any too much more too much more on that. Guys, if you're in the chat, you know what we're talking about. Maybe we had a little bit of a whoops-a-daisy. But that's the benefit you get from watching ELF Live. Sometimes you'll get news before everybody else. May that be a lesson to everybody. Always tune into ELF Live. But I see what you're saying right there, Marcus. All right, let's move on then to our next segment. We're going to touch on the top 10 players from the 2024 season. Obviously, the top 100 came out, released them 10 at a time. And then for the last 10 days, one at a time for the top 10. We've gotten them all out right now. And guys, we're going to go over these top 10 players. Let us know in the chat what your thoughts are. Matt, all right, let's start off. Number 10, David Brzezowski of the Wrocław Panthers, one of the top running backs in the league the last few seasons. Matt, is this an accurate representation of where he should be?
I think it's an absolutely accurate representation. You look at the stats, but you also look at the I know this is a stat-based list, but you also look at the importance of the team. Like, without him, they would have been terrible. Like, they had their QB issues, and they still managed to scrape an even record.
Sure.
You can put a lot of that down to David as well. So I think it's accurate. He's a top 10 player in the league.
Yep, there we go. Moving on, number 9, Chad Jeffries, Munich Ravens quarterback the last 2 years now, famously with the Rhine Fire. The Ravens made it to the playoffs last year, losing that heartbreaker to Paris. But Chad's always kind of been at that top, especially statistically, top of the level for the quarterbacks. Thoughts on this, Matt?
Elite accuracy as well, like you said. He had an easier schedule, so we're going to see him taking a step up. Still feels weird seeing him with number 1 though on his jersey.
I know, doesn't it?
It looks strange. But I think it's accurate. Chad's one of the best passers. Definitely one of the best pure passers in Europe.
Man, I wonder. I asked Chad if he feels extra pressure going to the Rhine Fire because they for sure expect a championship. They want a three-peat, and it doesn't matter who they've got there. And, he said he doesn't feel any extra pressure for what they've done previously. But I don't know, man. I feel like there's a lot of pressure in that spot. They have high expectations for that team. See how it goes this year. All right, number 8. Who we got? Jabri Reagan, defensive line out of Hervar. Very productive. Matt, thoughts on this one?
Love Regan. He's so underappreciated. It's unbelievable. But because he's playing on another
I know.
team with the Enthroners, like it was tough for him. But he's been there for years. So he actually has Hungarian citizenship. I'm pretty positive at this point. Like he's been around forever. Really would like to see him maybe step into like a James Brooks coaching role. I think that'd be pretty interesting to see him like retain in the league. I'd love to see Jabari stay.
Yep. All right, number 7. Ludwig Myron, linebacker, the Swede. I like this guy a lot. Absolute baller. What are your thoughts, Matt?
Love him. I honestly, from people I know in the Storm camp during the offseason,
Yeah.
they're really excited about him. They think he could be a defensive player of the year candidate this year. Easy to see why when you look on the tape. He's just such a phenomenal everywhere linebacker, inside, outside, wherever you need him to be, he can do it.
We got Glenn in the chat. Love to see running backs in the top 10. Yeah, and then Malchow says, "Sorry, Glenn, you were number 11."
Not enough stats.
Unfortunately, Glenn, your performance was not enough to crack. Maybe next year, buddy, try a little harder, score some more touchdowns. Who we got? Number 6.
Maybe 31 would have done it.
Maybe 31, Glenn. A little bit harder. William Lytle. Matt, I know you're a big fan of him. Played for the Cologne Centurions, defensive lineman. Thoughts on this one?
I love Lytle. He was a player I put like as my my flagship. Why are people not talking about him?
You did. You called that.
I did. And then everyone started realizing, oh, damn, this guy's pretty good. Some people turned on the tape, realized how destructive he was, realized how quick he was. Not officially signed yet, but I would love to see him stay in the league because he's just such a phenomenal player. I know what they do in Finland to attract these guys over to stay for a year and then come to the ELF. But there's so many instances, and William is probably my favorite of all of them.
Not officially signed yet, but Matt, I know you're hearing rumors, aren't you?
I am indeed, yeah.
In on the know. All right, number 5.
There we go.
Rye guy, Hennessy. This one really bothered me because I think it would be absolutely beautiful if Rye guy 4, he wears number 4, was ranked number 4, missed it by just one spot. But Riley Hennessy coming in at number 5. Thoughts on this one, Matt?
Love it. Again, I think it's probably exactly where I would put him. That last playoff game would have maybe would have had him before. You know, yeah, didn't have a great end.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. But he was phenomenal throughout the whole year, and I'm excited we get to see him this year. And I think extra little bit of motivation because last year he was, I'm sure, very motivated, but this year is different.
Riley's been supposed to retire after the season, the last 4 seasons. Somehow he keeps coming back. But I think maybe if they win it in Stuttgart this year, that could be it. All right, number 4. Aaron Jackson, who is unfortunately no longer in the league this year, but absolutely balled out with the Berlin Thunder, both as a receiver and a returner. Matt, is this accurate?
Yeah, electric player. Another player that was number 4, so it went to a player that went 4, so that's good. But he's an electric returner, electric receiver, big player definition. Loved watching him play. Hopefully, maybe in the future we'll see. We still every 29. We could see an ELF return. I'd like to.
I would love that. We would love that, wouldn't we?
We would
get these ballers back in the league.
Hey, come back. I'm talking to you, Aaron Jackson. Come back, please. We want you
Free
back.
AJ from Alex Malchow in the chat. Free AJ. All right, number 3. Oh, AJ Wentland, a tackling machine. Not really a surprise here. This guy's leading the league all the time in many of the defensive statistical categories. Thoughts on this, Matt?
He's Mr. Everywhere. He's the captain of that defense. You talk about stats, you talk about AJ. He's just got like every tackling record you could ever really imagine. Like he's everywhere. And this year he's coming back to the team, same scheme. You would imagine he's going to be a top. If you're a betting man, you would probably bet he would be topping in the league in tackles again, pretty securely.
Sure. I would say, yeah, if you're a betting man, that he'd probably be in that conversation also for Defensive Player of the Year nominee. So we'll see. He was close last year. Kyle ended up pulling it away once again. We'll see. All right, number 2. There he is. Speaking of the man himself, Kyle Kitchens, man, terrorizing backfields for Berlin, and now going to be terrorizing backfields for Hamburg this year. your good buddy, Matt. I know you guys don't see eye to eye on anything when it comes to ELF football. Kyle Kitchens, I think that we can all agree fits right here in the top 2, don't you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think that train ride, that train ride into Cologne from Dusseldorf will be like the stuff of infamy, the stuff we talked about. We went through every position, every player. Like we did see eye to eye a lot of those positions and players, but why have we not had Cooking with Kitchens yet as a podcast for developed by Hamburg eludes me because
Hey, there we go.
having would go viral because they were no disrespect, Carl, but some of his takes were egregiously bad.
Well, Kyle did have an interesting top 3 quarterbacks on his list. Speaking of Alex Malchow said, you spelled Ben Holmes wrong, and he actually spelled it wrong himself, Alex Malchow. There you go. We fixed it for you, Alex. All right, drum roll, please. Who on earth could be number 1? Could it not be the man himself? Glenjamin Tunga, unlimited amount of touchdowns last year, ran all over the league, MVP, and now moving up to the Nordic Storm. Matt, I don't think anybody can have any sort of gripes with this one, huh?
No, I think it's set in stone, right? I don't think he's not scored in over a calendar year. I think it's nearly 2 years that he hasn't not scored in a game. So that's pretty absurd. I've won a championship, was good in the championship, took a lot of the defense. Vienna were very happy with how they covered him in a championship game, and he still did really, really well. So it's crazy. He's in for another big year, I'm sure.
Glenn, you like that Glenjamin right there? I believe that's the formal of Glenn. Right, there we go. Glenjamin.
Yeah,
That's a new nickname I have just knighted you with. There we have it. Top 10. Oh, Malchow is the LeBron of the ELF.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. Malchow, after what's happened recently, I don't know if that's disrespectful to Glenn or not. I saw LeBron rolling around on the court for way too long. I've never seen Glenn do that. Give him the MJ. All right, so there we have it. All right, Matt, let's move on then to our next segment, which is a continuation of you ranking players position by position. Like I said, we did safeties last week, and this week we are doing, well, running backs. Speaking of Glenn, so let's see your top 5 running backs, and these are not necessarily based on stats, right, Matt? These are based on film evaluation.
Yeah, we do evaluation around here. I do not just go off of stats. I'm an evaluator. I'm a scout. This is how I make my bread. So we're going in with the top 5 here for the running back position.
All right, let's bring it in. Who we got at number 5 on the Matt Bressington list? Sandro Platzkummer.
Yes, we do.
The Austrian, the Tyrolean.
Yes, we do. So he is you would say maybe the most recognizable to an American audience, definitely for his time in New York, amazing market. So he's definitely probably the most seen elite level athlete through the IPP. Amazing one cut ability, has great ankle and knee bend. He was in a bad scheme last year for him. I'm not gonna lie. Like they never ran the ball in the red zone. It really, really annoyed me. His first ELF touchdown was with Frankfurt, which if you told me that like a couple of years ago that he would come back as a Tyrrell Raider and then his first touch would be in Frankfurt, I wouldn't have believed you. Wow. He has struggles with injuries as well. That's a big thing with him. From even when he was playing with the Swarco Raiders, pre-ELF, he had injury issues. Needs to come over that this season. He's a doctor now, so people have been saying that breaking ankles, he can just fix himself. So hopefully that'll come through.
People think doctors work.
I don't know, but people have said, "Oh, what if he gets hurt? He can just fix it." I don't know about that one, but some people have very high expectations of how good Sandro is under the knife, I guess.
Wow, we got talk about high expectations on and off the field for poor Sandro. Yeah, man, I played against Sandro back in the day when he was very young, and this man made me look so silly. I still think about it today. I just whiffing on this guy. So hopefully he can stay healthy. It's good for the league, good for the Galaxy, Matt's favorite team in the ELF. I don't think you have any personal beef with Sandro yet, do you?
In Sandro, well, for like a split second we did last year because of my English accent. When we were talking about McKay, he thought I said McKay and thought it called him mid. But we cleared it up. We're actually pretty good now. So.
Okay, and that British accent will get you into some trouble from time. All right, who we got at number 4 on the Matt Bressington list of top running backs? Kari Pajarinen out of Vienna. What are your thoughts on him?
Love him. Finnish running back, him and his brother, I've been following since they were like young in the youth system of Finland. That honestly, I don't know how they produce so many great running backs, but they really do. Balanced skill set, good build, great center of gravity, and he's physical in the middle. He has great footwork as well. Took a big step. I predicted in the preseason. I don't want to be that guy that keeps bringing up my past good predictions. Don't
No,
look
you
at
can
the
do
bad
it.
ones.
Tell the people about your good prediction, man.
I've correctly predicted that he would step into the 1,000 this year, and he did. Had a great season. The bad thing is, though, Nick, and you got to kind of call it into question, is the clutch factor. You know, he came in with those 2 fumbles in the championship game. This is a big.
Right.
However, I want to put a little bit of an asterisk on that. Those plays were so good, and that Flamor Zimon.
They were absolutely wildly impressive defensive plays. It's so tough too for a guy like mentally when you fumble, then you're thinking about fumbling, and that's just a tough hurdle mentally to get over. And I played against him in a GFL championship, and he was very very solid in that. You know, didn't have any fumbling issues there. So I don't think I don't know if the clutch factor is fair to give him just from that. I think a lot of people would have trouble with that situation. I'm glad they brought him back, and hopefully he can vindicate himself.
Yeah, that'd be good. He's an elite running back.
Also, really nice guy. I like the kid.
Yeah,
I like the
he's
kid.
nice. Talked to him at the championship game for a second. He's nice.
All right, who we got at number 3?
We got Tamawa Iyewol at number 3.
Wee.
Your favorite running back this year, I'm sure.
Well,
As
don't
you
let Glenn
know,
hear that.
as you know, super well-rounded running back. Can literally spread out to out wide receiver in a slot, can play as a natural running back. Elite first step. That is if you'll pardon the pun a little bit on the search team, an electric first step. He really does. Great cuts, great bounce, phenomenal athlete. He's big too. Like he's 210. He may be a little bit more heavier than that this year. He looks built. He's the best receiver running back in
Right.
all of Europe. You know, it's not even close. I know that Albert's a really good one as well, but it's Tomiwa. Has also struggled with injuries in 2024. Didn't get a whole lot. You look at games played again. This is why stats are, not be all end all, because he says games played was 10, but realistically, we know it wasn't. Didn't have the most touches. Was kind of put out as a bit of a decoy.
Sure.
Rodney did really, really well in his absence, but when he's on, there is not a more dynamic offensive weapon in the running back position, because you can literally play him wherever you need and he'll play at an elite level. I'm a big Tomiwa Iyewol fan.
Yeah, man. I mean, think about what he did in 23 2 years ago was absolutely incredible. Obviously, with the injuries last year, and then still when he came back and then showing his versatility, obviously with Rodney really taking a lot of the bulk of the traditional backfield runs, but Tomiwa just like showed that you get him the ball in all sorts of different ways, and he is deadly. I'm so curious how he performs behind that Surge offensive line, because that Surge O line, I think, one of the strongest in the ELF. And hopefully Tommy can stay healthy. All right. Number 2 for Matt Bressington. We've got secret agent David Brzezowski. Look at that buzz cut. That man looks tough as hell with that buzz cut.
He does. I sent that into the chat with 4 Down Fiasco with me and Jamal and Alex as well, and it was very funny because he does look like a hitman. Looks like Agent 47.
Mhm.
I'm sure he's ready to be a killer this year too, because he is an all-star. He is a Homegrown of the Year winner. He carried the Panthers in 2024. Like, no doubt about it. They would not have been the team they were without him. He was phenomenal. Elite cuts, great center of gravity. Also elevated his receiving back game a little bit this year. Great bag of tricks as well. He has the one cuts. He has a good spin move. I think he can hurdle a little bit. Here's my big thing. I think to be an elite running back, because people do treat him. Some people do treat him on par with Glenn. I said about it at the FIFA. We literally posted a short about it today. Some people think that he is a more talented running back than Glenn is, if he had the strength of the offensive line. Here's what I think he needs to do to be on that level, is to add size. You can see the weight, maybe 187. He might be a little bit up now this offseason, I think he needs to get maybe to 200, maybe a 210, kind of similar to where Tomiwa is. And I think he could really shock some people, because I don't mean to be that guy, but I'm sure he's got a lot of teams calling him about 2026 if he has a big year in 2025.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, he's been kind of one of the top backs for the last couple of years. We got Matt before we hit number one, who we all know is going to be Ricardo Oliveira is upset. He says, "Wait, Plattsburgh over Bonatti? What? Let's see. Hold on, let me throw this up. Ricardo's pissed at you again, Matt.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise. Plattsburgh over Bonatti. What was Bonatti close to cracking your top five?
Well, now he's 6. Well, now
Ay!
he's 6. He is a phenomenal running back, super balanced as well, but he doesn't have the athleticism of Sandro. Obviously a lot more consistent than Sandro, but those highs that Sandro can have, the athleticism we see shining through Platzgummer when he will just hit like the most random of spin moves, but like you blink and you'll miss it, and he's already like 30 yards downfield because he's pulled off this crazy move. And when you see the slow-mo of some of his cuts, and I mentioned about his ankle bend, his knee bend, it's unreal when he when he gets that full lean into a cut. Like there's no running back that has that level of bend in the whole of the league.
Right. And Ricardo, let's remember this list is not based on stats. He says he's had the games though. Malchow says Vumbo is underrated. Yeah, I'd like to see Vumbo. I mean, we'll see what he does this year. He kind of ramped up in the second half of last season, did some impressive stuff. But Matt, who on earth could be number one in your running back list?
I don't know, Nick. It's gonna have to be
Glenjamin! Once again, Glenjamin Tunga.
Glenjamin is my number one running back in the league. I know he had an amazing offensive line. Everyone always talks about, oh, he had a great offensive line. Every running back is dictated by their offensive line. This isn't a secret in the league. 5'9", 215 pounds, big dude, MVP, multiple All-Star, just has that bruiser style, and it's hard to bring him down. He has amazing contact balance. If you've watched a lot of Gentry during this draft, you're familiar how important contact balance is, and he has that in terms of European standards. He is phenomenal when it comes to just bouncing players off him. You need an army and a half really to take down Glenn when he gets a full running. And now he's not a breakaway he's not a breakaway speed guy. He's not running a 4.4. I'm sure Glenn will agree. But he does have this physicality that he's kind of hard to stop. And red zone, man, 30 touchdowns.
Unbelievable. Glenn, if you're still in the chat, you want to fire back at Matt questioning your breakaway speed, feel free to fire back at Matt, as Matt is doing a great job of finding beefs all around the league.
I've got to give honest opinion. Every player on all of these graphics always gets 1 point of emphasis for their improvement.
You're an honest scout, Matt. You're intellectually honest in your scouting, and that's exactly what we need. I can speak again, but I've just realized I've played against 4 of those top 5 running backs. Yeah, and all 4 of them have hurt my feelings and my ego in some way or another. Glenn, I bounced off Glenn one time. It's like I had a great run through path. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna lay this dude out. Just bounced off him. The contact balance is ridiculous, even years ago. Oh, here we go. Glenn, back in the chat. Matt, that's crazy talk. I'm gonna show you how versatile I am. But I agree. I agree. I'm slow. Not only is this man an elite running back, number 1 on your list, number 1 on the ELF's list, but humble as well. What more could you ask for in a player?
Because 5 years ago in Bristol, we ran a 4.9. I'm sure that's not accurately representative. I know he's probably faster than 4.9, but
there was wind on that
guy. He's not as fast as Tomiwa. If you want to race Tomiwa, go ahead, but let's not be silly now, Glenn. Me and you are good friends. But
we'll set up the race during a bye week. All right, everybody. So there you have it. That is our show today. 15 days until ELF football. And I unfortunately will not be on the show next Friday. So Matt, either you'll be solo hosting, or maybe we'll pull one of our guys up to co-host with you. So I'll be sad to miss that, but I'll be back the following week. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much for joining us today. Matt, good stuff today, brother.
It was. And sorry, Jamal just threw me off with I need a picture of AI bold Glenn. That threw me off a little bit. But
Our chat's wild today. All right, everybody. Good stuff. And we will see you next time. Peace.